What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be doing a very simple video. I have gone in and tested every single barrel for all of the Cold War guns that I have fully leveled. So it's most of the ARs and most of the SMGs, and I'll put timestamps down below so you can jump to whatever gun you want specifically. And all these values are up on the website, so you can look at them yourself. But I think a lot of people don't know these are up to date, and my YouTube platform is pretty large at this point, so I just wanted to make a video, make sure everybody knew that all these values are as up to date as possible within the last week or so tested again. So we're cranking through the data right now. We'll hopefully have everything probably within, I don't know, 3 weeks at this point. I've been working really hard to get all the values for everybody. So if you guys like the content, consider subscribing, hit that thumbs up button, and we will jump into it here, and I'll show you all the new barrel data. All right, so we're going to start with the ARs from Cold War. So this is all on the site, like I said, so if you want to just go check it out yourself, you can. But I'm going to go through gun by gun and talk about the barrel testing results and what you should know about it. So I've retested the range modifier and the bullet velocity for every Cold War barrel that I have unlocked, which is most of them. You'll see if they're not, if I don't list them here, it's just because I don't have them fully leveled yet. I'm hoping to get them all fully leveled in the next, I don't know, week or so. I appreciate all you guys, by the way, reaching out when I say that to offer dropping your weapons for me, but that would be really, really difficult to do, and it would take a ton of time for you, and it would just be kind of difficult to coordinate. And I'm close to having everything fully leveled, so I'm just going to level stuff. But again, thank you for reaching out and saying that you'll drop guns for me. But anyway, I have not retested the ADS movement speed or recoil or anything. This is all old numbers. But I do plan on retesting all of the stats. Right now, I'm just starting with what I think is the most important. So I started with range modifier and bullet velocity because I think those are the two most important stats for the barrels. So going through these, the ultralight originally said it helped with strafe speed. They've updated it now to say it does damage range. But it still has the longest damage range, 35% increase to damage range. Cavalry Lancer only has 20% increase to damage range. Reinforced Heavy has a big increase to damage range and a big increase to bullet velocity. And it does have some other penalties. Like I said, this needs to be retested, but when I tested it first time, it was 2% decrease in ADS movement speed, which is not a ton, but it's something worth noting. Ranger Barrel, no difference in range, but a very high 73% increase in bullet velocity. Takedown Barrel is just a 25% increase in bullet velocity, and there's other stats. Again, I just want to clarify, there are other stats on these attachments. I just haven't tested them yet, but I wanted to get the info out there that I have range and bullet velocity fully updated on these, because I get asked all the time if they're up to date, and these are up to date within the last week or so. And then the task force got this big nerf in Season 2, where now the horizontal bounce is actually worse. It used to kind of tighten up that spread left to right, but it does not do that anymore. Now it hurts it. So I don't really think you should be using the task force anymore. I've switched all of my task force builds to the reinforced heavy. Another good option would be the takedown or the ultralight. I think those are the three to choose from right now. Would be ultralight, reinforced heavy, takedown. I personally use reinforced heavy on pretty much all of them that I use a barrel. If I'm running the FFAR as an SMG, I don't always use a barrel though. Just because if you're running it as an SMG, then even if you don't have a barrel, you're gonna have way more range than any other SMG. So I don't think it's necessary, but that's a different conversation. I just use reinforced heavy. That's my favorite barrel. All right, so this is the XM4. The XM4 has gotten a lot better recently, but it's still not great looking at these numbers. So the Ranger Barrel, Cavalry Lancer, and Task Force all actually reduce your range by 8%, which is so strange. And this is tested within the last few days, so this is 100% up to date. Task Force actually also reduced your bullet velocity by 14%, which was super strange. It just does the opposite of what it says it does. I haven't tested its effects on recoil yet. Like I said, that's coming. This video is just for bullet velocity and range modifiers. So takedown barrel, 23% increase in bullet velocity, extended barrel, 61% increase in bullet velocity, and then reinforced heavy has a 30% increase in bullet velocity and a 25% increase in range modifier. So reinforced heavy's pretty clearly to me the barrel to go with for the XM4. You could use the extended also. The bullet or the damage drop off for the XM4 is pretty short, only at 22 meters. So I think that maybe it's not really worth extending the damage range just because you're going to be past that. Even if you put the long barrel on there, so even if you put the reinforced heavy, I don't have the muzzles on there, but you can get like another 10%. So if you had the agency suppressor, you get another 10%. So you'd be like 27 meters. That's not really worth it to me. I think probably just sticking with the extended barrel for maximum bullet velocity to make it easier to hit targets at range, probably the way to go. Um, but yeah, it's up to you. If you want to extend the range, then the reinforced heavy is definitely the barrel to go with. All right, so for the Groza basically has the exact same stats as the FFAR. So I'm not really going to go through this. The ranges are the same. The bullet velocities are similar. They're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. Just a few percentage off, maybe like 10% off at most. But the Groza has basically identical stats to the FFAR, and they're all up on the website, so you can go check this out if you want to yourself. But I'm not going to spend any time talking about it since I just talked about it for the FFAR, and they're super similar weapons. Everything I said about the FFAR pretty much holds true here for the Groza as well. All right, and then this is the AK-47 from Cold War. So this again, so I said the Groza was just like the FFAR. The AK-47 from Cold War is just like the XM4. So the attachments are basically identical. I'm pretty sure they just copy pasted for some of these. Definitely for the range modifiers, the bullet velocities can be slightly different, but relatively close still, like within, like I said, like 10% or something like that. So it's interesting that they just copy pasted these, but I don't really have an issue with it. I just have an issue with the attachments being incorrect. So like the Spetsnaz RPK reducing range and bullet velocity, that's annoying because I don't think that's what it says in game. But same thing, like I said for the Groza, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the Cold War AK-47 stats because they're the same as the XM4 that I already went over. So you can just watch that part and can just pretend like I'm talking about the Cold War AK-47 instead. All right, so last up for the Cold War assault rifles is the Krig. The Krig is the same story again as the FFAR and the Groza. The range modifiers were exactly the same for the Krig as they were for the FFAR and the Groza. Bullet velocities were slightly different. You can get some really high bullet velocity with the Ranger barrel and the agency suppressor. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, same as the Groza and the FFAR. I'm not going to talk about it again just because it's the same. It is a different kind of gun. It's more long range. So I don't know, more long range, probably leaning again towards bullet velocity. So I'd probably use the Ranger personally. It's between Ranger and Contour pretty much. It has pretty long damage range. So the Krig has 38 meters before its first drop off of damage range. So that's pretty significant. And if you add the ultralight barrel, you can get all the way out to 50. So I would say, kind of like I said before, the ultralight, the Contour, and the Ranger are the top 3 barrels for the Krig. It just depends on how you want to play it. If you want it to be more hit scanning, easier to hit targets at range, you're going to want to use the Ranger. If you want bullet velocity and you want a good booster range, you're going to want the Contour barrel. And then if you just only care about extending that damage range out, then you're going to want the ultralight. So okay, let's move on to the SMGs. So the SMGs were all pretty much identical in terms of range modifiers. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but MAC-10, Bullfrog, and Cold War MP5 were all fully tested, and they all came out exactly the same. So in terms of the damage range, you get 17% with cavalry, 10% with reinforced heavy, 23% with rifled, and 10% with task force. Rifled says it helps with the vertical recoil and hurts with hip fire. That is a mistake. I'll go fix that after the video. I don't know how that got in there. Those should not be there. But bullet velocity wise, the extended barrel is 38% increase. Reinforced heavy was 52, Ranger 64, and task force 36. Now these did vary a little bit from gun to gun, so the correct bullet velocity values should be on the site. So if you want to check them out, just go. You can just go to the site and look. But the range values for all the SMGs were approximately the same enough that because I'm only measuring to a meter of accuracy, I'm confident that they were all the same. So I basically took the average of all the percentage increases that I got to get these values because if I had moved 1 meter forward or 1 meter back, I could have gotten within the margin of error of the measurements for all the SMGs. So I'm pretty sure they're all the same, just copy pasted. But the bullet velocities I do think are a little bit different. gun to gun. So if you want to check them out, just go to the website, TrueGameData.com, check them out, and see for yourself. All right, so obviously I've talked about the M16 and the AUG a bunch, but just in the interest of completeness, we're going to talk about them again real fast for this video. So this is the M16. The M16's barrels don't affect range at all because there's no damage drop off currently. I think they're going to add one, but right now there is no damage drop off. And the Cavalry Lancer and Strike Team both added 22% bullet velocity, but the Strike Team increases your fire rate slightly as well. So you're going to want to use the Strike Team barrel with the M16 all the time. There's no other barrel that makes any sense right now. All right, so the AUG, I don't have the AUG image uploaded to the website yet, but the barrels for the AUG are the same story basically as the M16. Cavalry Lancer gives 33% bullet velocity, Strike Team gives 44%, and Strike Team increases your fire rate. So there's, again, no question, you're going to want to use the Strike Team barrel for the AUG for every build that you run. The Titanium shoots a little bit faster than the Strike Team for the AUG, but I don't think it's ever really going to be worth using it over the Strike Team. It's a very, very small difference. And those differences are on the website, so if you want to compare the two TTKs between Strike Team and Titanium, it will account for that on the TTK and DPS chart page, so you can just come use the website to find that. But it's a pretty minimal difference, and 44% bullet velocity is really, really a large help, so I think Strike Team's still the way to go, like 100% of the time on the AUG. All right, last but not least, we have the DMR 14 and the Type 63. These were both identical, so I'm not going to talk about both of them. I'm just going to talk about the DMR. But what they've done is they've reduced the range significantly on the DMR. So the Strike Team now reduces your range by 21%. Titanium reduces your range by 26%, and neither one of them help with bullet velocity anymore. So the barrel to use probably for the DMR is going to be the Cavalry. The Task Force, I do think, increases recoil now. Again, I've only tested the bullet velocity and range modifiers, but the rest of the stats are coming. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew these bullet velocity and range modifiers were up to date. But yeah, so because the Task Force probably increases recoil and doesn't have as much bullet velocity as the Cavalry, I think the Cavalry is probably the way to go. The damage drop-off's so short with the DMR anyway. It's at like 19 meters now, that I don't think you really need to worry about extending that damage range very much. It's not going to have a significant change on 99% of the fights you have, so I think bullet velocity is going to be the one you're going to want to concern yourself with the most for the DMR. So Cavalry Lancer, I think, is the barrel to choose if you still want to use this gun. All right, guys, a pretty simple video today. I just wanted to cover all the new data that I've gathered and put on the website. I know that most of you, or a lot of you, probably have seen this and knew this was up to date. I've tweeted out that I had updated this stuff and things like that, but I have more subscribers on YouTube than I have on Twitter, so I wanted to make sure that everybody knew these values were up to date, and I'm testing very quickly right now. I'm cranking through everything as fast as I can. The YouTube videos are going to be a little simpler, a little shorter. This one's probably going to be pretty long, but this is just me talking about stuff, so this didn't take a lot of prep time or anything. But yeah, the YouTube is being cut back a little bit so I can get more data out for you guys, because that's kind of what built the whole channel and built the whole website. So I'm working really hard to get all the data for everybody. But yeah, I hope you found it useful, and I will see you guys all in the next video, hopefully out in the next couple days, but we will see.